Minecraft has 110 advancements the player can earn, and they range wildly in difficulty, from consuming anything that can be consumed to killing 5 different mobs with 1 crossbow shot. But what if someone tried to beat Minecraft without getting any of those advancements? Well, they'd fail, because it's not possible, but it is possible to beat the game with just 2 advancements, the ones you get for entering the Nether and entering the End. And not only have players attempted and succeeded to do this, they've been speedrunning it. In Minecraft low-percent speedruns, you have to go to ridiculous lengths to avoid getting achievements. Just for starters, this includes not eating at any point, never having a crafting table in your inventory, or cobblestone, or iron, and never killing any mobs. In this video, I'm going to tell the story of how these speedruns are possible, and how a runner named Qcom was even able to pull one off in under an hour. Please help us out by dropping a like if you end up enjoying the video, and remember to check if you're subscribed so you can stay up to date with all of our uploads. Now, let's get into the story of Minecraft's low-percent speedruns. In every single-player Minecraft world, the player has a set of advancements they can achieve, 110 of them as of version 1.21. The advancements are ordered in a chronological path through the game, but they can be accomplished in any order at any time. Also, the advancements are organized under 5 different tabs, which are also the root advancements of the game: Minecraft, Nether, the End, Adventure, and Husbandry. While they categorize the rest of the game's advancements, they still have their own particular requirements, and as you can imagine, they're some of the most basic and difficult to avoid. This complicates low-percent, because when you complete an advancement under a tab that you haven't gotten the root advancement of yet, the tab will have to open to display the advancement you did get, automatically unlocking the root advancement. Because of this, low-percent speedruns are organized into categories that count root advancements and ones that don't, with the no roots standard being just 2 advancements, and the roots record being just 4. While the no roots record is faster than the roots record, if you count roots as advancements, which they technically are, the no roots record gets several more advancements than the roots record. So the category we're interested in that actually involves the least possible advancements is 4 advancements, including roots. There are also set seed records that beat the game in 2 advancements with roots and 1 advancement without. If you like this video and want me to make a sequel about those SSG runs, let me know down in the comments. Now that we have our parameters established, let's dive into how speedrunners are able to beat the game while getting just 2 advancements. To start, there's the 2 advancements you can't avoid: entering the Nether and entering the End. You have to go to the End to kill the dragon and beat the game, and in the majority of, as well as the fastest, random seed glitchless metas, you have to go to the Nether in order to get the necessary materials, blaze rods and ender pearls, to go to the End. Of course, along the way, you're not allowed to enter a Nether fortress, the only place you can get blaze rods, distract an angry piglin with gold, the way players normally get ender pearls, have a blaze rod in your inventory, or enter a stronghold. You know, the place that has the end portal in it. Do you see the problems? Well, apparently speedrunners don't. The first low-percent 4 advancements with roots world record was completed on May 16th, 2022. A 3.5-hour behemoth by Endguiop? I'm not going to focus much on the earlier runs in this category, since they have such a long way to come to reach the current record. But despite the run being almost 4 hours long, it remained on top for a year. In May of 2023, Bananamate posted a new submission to the leaderboard, a 2-hour, 35-minute run that blew Endguiop out of the water. The biggest difference maker is Bananamate's ability to efficiently transport items that he can't hold in his inventory, which there are a lot of, and how much more quickly he was able to get his ender pearls after getting blaze rods. This new record would stand for about 9 months, until on March 1st, 2024, Lunit broke the next hour barrier by a slim margin with a 1:55.36. Lunit went into this run intending to get ender pearls at a bastion, which the previous 2 world records didn't do, but when he entered the Nether with a nearby fortress and a good biome for piglin spawns, he decided to roll with classic strats. It paid off, as he got to the stronghold 30 minutes ahead of Bananamate, and managed to finish just ahead enough to complete the first sub-2-hour run. Another big milestone for the category. But while all these barriers were being broken, there was another player grinding low-percent runs with an entirely separate goal in mind: He wanted to place well on the leaderboard, sure, but he already knew he was capable of that. He was more interested in pushing low percent past the biggest barrier that hadn't been broken, the 1 hour mark. With strategies he had developed both on his own and in collaboration with a player called Fred the Nerd, Qcom knew that a sub-hour run was possible. It was just about finding the right seed and executing the intricate strategies required to avoid all the advancements. This is why I breezed past the former records. While they're interesting in their own right, they aren't very comparable to Qcom's current record. He was kind of operating on his own level. After intermittently grinding low percent runs over the span of a couple of years, he started grinding it more frequently in March of 2024. It didn't take long for his efforts to pay off. Just a month later, he pulled off one of the most impressive Minecraft speedruns you'll ever see. This is Qcom's 5928. The first key to any low percent run is finding a naturally generated crafting table, since crafting one and holding it in your inventory gives you the Minecraft root advancement. Qcom is resetting to find a village, the easiest place to find a crafting table, but he's also looking for a desert temple. The reason for this is less straightforward, but in low percent, if you want a shot at a good time, you have to think ahead. Let's talk about the overall shape of the run. The steps to beating Minecraft are pretty straightforward. Go to the Nether, acquire Ender Pearls and Blaze Rods, make Eyes of Ender, use those to find the stronghold and go to the end, then kill the dragon. When you can't get any advancements though, this to-do list creates a lot of problems. In the Desert Temple, Qcom will get TNT, which he'll need in order to collect Blaze Rods without killing blazes, and String, which he'll need for a fishing rod, which is essential for moving items that he can't hold in his inventory. Because these two structures, a village and a desert temple, are relatively rare to find at the same time, Qcom is resetting simultaneously between 6 instances of the game, when he checks out this world and quickly spots a village and a temple right next to each other. He breaks into the temple first, where instead of detonating the TNT under the floor, he preserves it and loots each chest by hand. He takes all the valuable loot, like sand, string, and gunpowder, and leaves the junk, like the food and the iron. With his temple loot secured, Qcom climbs back out of the temple and passes through the village to the nearby savannah, where he'll quickly gather wood and blocks using his TNT. Of course, he won't be using the wood to make a crafting table. That would be pure lunacy. Instead, he's going to get iron by killing the iron golem in the village, in order to make a bucket and a flint and steel to go to the Nether later. Given that Qcom is unable to kill the iron golem and hold iron ingots in his inventory, that's going to be a little harder than in the typical Minecraft speedrun. But after spending a lot of time trying to develop a consistent, fast method, Qcom was able to find a way. By building this structure starting from the southeast corner of a house, Qcom angers the golem, then is able to trap it and leave it to suffocate. This would be borderline impossible to do without a plan, but Qcom makes it look relatively easy. There's still the issue of collecting the iron though, and this is where the most important strategy of the speedrun comes into play. See, most of the time, Minecraft is constantly checking and updating what you have in your inventory, so the moment you pick up an item that would give you an advancement, that advancement immediately registers. However, one of the exceptions to this is when you're in the interface of a crafting table. So, if you were to pick up, say, an iron ingot while you were already using a crafting table, and you removed it from your inventory before you exited the crafting table, the game wouldn't know it had ever been there in the first place. You probably see where this is going. After spreading dirt across his inventory so he doesn't accidentally pick up unwanted items, Qcom carefully stands on top of the iron and crafts his bucket and flint and steel. No acquire hardware advancement involved. Now, it's time for Qcom to move on to the next step of the run. First, he kills himself to take the edge off, and also to reset his hunger since he can't eat food. Then he leaves the village and heads back the way he came, with his sights set on one of the most esteemed and iconic items in Minecraft's history: a diamond pickaxe. Now, going out of your way to get a diamond pickaxe is pretty much the antithesis of what a speedrunner does. Qcom has a pretty good excuse for this detour though. Like I mentioned, there are advancements for having both a stone and an iron pickaxe in your inventory, so Qcom's only pickaxe options are wood, gold, diamond, and technically netherite. Wood pickaxes are very slow. Golden pickaxes are very fast, but they can only mine 32 blocks before breaking, and maintaining a supply of golden pickaxes throughout an hour-plus run would be a nightmare. So, a diamond pickaxe is actually Qcom's most economical, and really his only viable option for a low percent speedrun, but he needs to get his diamonds fast. For this, he'll turn to a technique that, unlike most of the speedrunning strats in this run, Qcom didn't create: Matthew Bolin is a Minecraft player and speedrun enthusiast who has created some of the most important strategies in Minecraft speedrunning history. But maybe his most famous discovery wasn't really relevant to main category speedrunners. Bolin diamonds. I won't get into the details of it, but Bolin found a way to find spots where diamond ore is likely to generate based on clay patches on the surface of the world. If you're interested in the technical details, I'll link Bolin's original video in the description. Qcom finds a patch of clay that matches what he's looking for and digs straight down, hoping that the roughly 50-50 chance that he'll hit diamonds pays off. This is one of the most frustrating parts of the run because of how often the player has to reset at this point, but this time, Qcom's luck comes through, and he's rewarded with a vein of 5 diamonds. There is one thing that makes this situation a whole lot trickier, though. Of course, there's an advancement for holding a diamond. To avoid this, Qcom first blows up the diamonds, then creates a water elevator where he dug down, and the diamonds go shooting to the surface. From here, he'll use a fishing rod to drag the diamonds all the way back to the crafting table in the village. Well, it's less like dragging and more like hurling. By getting far away from the diamonds before using his fishing pole, Qcom is able to throw the diamonds much further, and more quickly, than you normally would. A couple of throws later, and Qcom's back in the village, and a couple of clicks later, he's got a diamond pickaxe and a shovel. And now that he's properly equipped, it's finally time for Qcom to go to the Nether. He does this the same way any speedrunner would, by finding a lava pool, but with one key limitation. Having a lava bucket is, of course, an advancement. Obsidian is formed by running water hitting a lava source block, so speedrunners usually build portals by placing lava against a water flow, picking up and placing lava source blocks in the process. Because Qcom can hold water but not lava, his portal ends up looking a little different. Even after he finds a lava pool, it takes Qcom over a minute to find a spot deep enough to build his portal. But he nails the setup, which he created, and he finally makes it into the Nether at 12 minutes and 10 seconds. And there it is, the first advancement. Technically 2 because of the Nether root advancement of the run. Feels wrong, doesn't it? While he's definitely going to have a unique approach to acquiring his blaze rods and ender pearls, Qcom is still looking for the same things as every other speedrunner in the Nether: a bastion and a fortress. There are 4 kinds of bastion variants, and each one has a distinct route that has been created to loot the bastion without technically entering it, although treasure bastions take so much time under these parameters that they're basically an instant reset. Of course, none of this matters if Qcom doesn't find a bastion near his nether spawn, which he does, a stables variant, just about 100 blocks away from his nether portal. Qcom is quickly able to identify the bastion as such, and knows exactly where to dig to find gold blocks, which he'll trade for pearls. He then skirts around the outside of the bastion to another spot where gold blocks generate, uses TNT to quickly gather them, then leaves the bastion with 8 gold blocks at 16:45. In traditional modern speedruns, Minecraft players will trade their gold with piglins at the bastion, where there's a higher concentration of them, to speed up the time it takes them to get their ender pearls. In this run though, Qcom will settle for classic strats, where he finds a few stray piglins in the wild and trades his gold with them. Qcom is on an excellent pace as he waits for the piglins to trade through his gold, and he gets to work on locating another fortress. He does this using a strategy called Pyre. On the F3 screen's pie chart, if you navigate to the Block Entities tab, you can see a breakdown of the types of blocks that are within your render distance. One unique kind of block are mob spawners, which in the Nether usually coincide with fortresses. By adjusting his render distance one chunk at a time, Qcom can see how far away the nearest fortress is, and then by moving between chunks, he can see what direction it's in. Having done this, he goes back to check on his trades, where he's gotten 9 ender pearls so far. He wants 12 ideally, although more pearls always help save some time on getting around. Thankfully though, he soon gets more than enough, and has all his pearls secured just a little over 20 minutes into the run. Now, it's time for him to find his nether fortress, although there is the issue of him being out of hunger and unable to run. After a pit stop by the overworld to death reset, including a sweet little hay bale clutch, Qcom sets up a pearl hang before he heads for the fortress. This is a strategy where runners throw an ender pearl, then before it lands, unload the chunk it's going to land in. Then, when they're ready, they increase their render distance, and instantly teleport when the pearl lands. This should save Qcom some time by allowing him to teleport all the way back to his nether portal once he has all his blaze rods, instead of trekking back from the fortress. He sets out for the nether fortress, and all is going according to plan when suddenly, so the downside of pearl hanging is that if you accidentally cross a chunk border in the wrong direction, you'll be teleported whether you want to or not. In the end, he only loses about 2.5 minutes to this, which is survivable in a run like this, although the health and therefore hunger he loses does become annoying a little later. The biggest flaw of the seed this run was played on is probably the distance of the Nether Fortress, because it wasn't easy for Qcom to get to, but at just over 31 minutes, it emerges out of the red gloom. Now, he's got to be careful here, because if he enters the fortress, the run is over. But luckily, the game isn't too particular about what counts as entering the fortress. Qcom is able to dig out a chamber underneath a blaze spawner, which he quickly locates. This will cause the blazes to spawn in the open space, where part 2 of Qcom's setup comes into play. Using a setup of doors and trapdoors, Qcom lures the blazes into a hole, and once enough have accumulated there, he'll kill them with TNT, leaving the blood off his hands, at least in the eyes of the Minecraft advancement table. For as daunting as it sounds to try to collect blaze rods from a fortress without entering the fortress, killing any blazes, or holding any blaze rods, this is actually the easiest part of the run. Qcom just has to sit and wait for the blaze to fall into his trap. Literally. The intense part, though, comes next. Once he has well over a dozen blazes sitting on top of his TNT, Qcom prepares himself to light it, after which he'll have to do a couple of things very fast. First, he's going to have to see where the blaze rods have dropped and ensure that they don't burn. Second, if any blazes survive the explosion, he's going to have to protect the rods and himself from the blaze without killing it. Third, he's going to have to push the blaze rods towards himself by placing blocks, something that speedrunners do often, but still has pretty janky physics. The entire run is at stake right here. One little slip up and he'll get an advancement, or lose all the rods, or die. This is the moment for Qcom to lock in. After detonating the TNT, Qcom sees basically a worst-case scenario, a blaze still surviving and the rods treacherously far out of reach. What he does next is unbelievable. Oh boy, blaze rods secure. Now, Qcom can breathe a sigh of relief and simply increase his render distance, causing his pearl, which he rehung after triggering the first one too soon, to land and take him back to... Hey, speedrunning ain't for the faint of heart. After smartly taking a minute to fill his inventory so no unwanted items get in, Qcom returns to the Nether and gathers his inventory, taking care to avoid picking up the blaze rods. While he can't carry them in his inventory, he just needs to get them to a crafting table, where he can combine them with the pearls to make Eyes of Ender, which don't carry an advancement. He'll accomplish this slowly and meticulously, using his trusty fishing rod. And bang, 47.5 minutes into the run, Qcom has 14 Eyes of Ender. Now, he's got 12 minutes left to find the stronghold, go to the end, and slay the dragon. His next steps look like the beginning of most speedrunners' runs. He goes through the village and collects beds for the dragon fight, upgrades his tools, then sets out for the stronghold. He throws his Eyes of Ender and uses the Ninja Brain bot to determine the location of the nearest stronghold. And while it's quite far away for a speedrun, similarly to the Nether Fortress, that's a negligible difference on this kind of pace. You can see in his gameplay, too, that Qcom knows he's on a special pace. But for as complicated and tedious as a lot of the run has been so far, Qcom needs just a little more patience and focus for his vision of a sub-hour, low-percent run to be realized. 52.5 minutes into the run, he reaches the stronghold, another structure he needs to enter to beat the game, which he can't enter without getting an advancement. Also similarly to the Nether Fortress, he'll approach this from underneath, putting his head right underneath the lava under the end portal. Then, using the F3 screen, which indicates the type of block your cursor is pointed at, place his Eyes of Ender in the portal frames. Then, on theme, he'll use an Ender Pearl to take him the rest of the way, hitting the inside of the portal so that he goes through into the end without ever registering as having been inside the stronghold. And now, at 54:35, Qcom is in the end, with just one thing standing between him and his sub-hour dreams: the dragon. If you're expecting some complex method of taking down the dragon while avoiding 5 advancements in the process, sorry to disappoint, but Qcom is taking on the dragon the good old-fashioned way. The one cycle. The one cycle is the strategy Minecraft speedrunners use where they wait for the dragon to perch in the middle of the island, which it does at fairly random intervals, then, as it descends, repeatedly blow up beds and kill it in one fell swoop. Because the dragon is killed by the explosions from the beds the player blows up when they one cycle, instead of by the player themselves, they don't get the advancement for killing a mob. The one difference between a traditional one-cycle and Qcoms is that players normally place a block of obsidian to place their beds off of, since most blocks are destroyed in explosions, and obsidian isn't. But holding obsidian is an achievement, so instead, Qcom is using stairs and waterlogging them, which also prevents blocks from being destroyed in explosions. If you've watched a lot of Minecraft speedrunning, you know that one-cycles can be incredibly cruel, granting wishes and crushing hopes in equal measure. But Qcom has 5 minutes of leeway to get this thing done. He just needs the dragon to not completely screw him over. He helpfully reminds us when we reach the 2-minute warning. But the beautiful thing about this game is that after all the methodical, painstaking work Qcom has put in to get to this spot, it's completely out of his hands now. It all comes down to Mother Fortune, and the old lady herself, the Ender Dragon. And sure enough, with less than a minute remaining before the hour mark, she rewards Qcom and makes her move for the middle of the island. He has 5 beds, a healthy if not foolproof amount for a one-cycle. Today, it's been an hour, but in all, it's been much more than that. And for Qcom's quest to beat Minecraft low percent in less than an hour, it all comes down to this. "59 minutes, 28 seconds. It's over. The impossible has been done. A truly impressive world record, and one that would be surprising to see beat anytime soon. I mean, it's easy to see how it could be improved upon, but is anyone really gonna put themselves through what Qcom did to get there? Regardless of what the future of the category holds, a huge congrats to Qcom for this run. His channel is linked in the description. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video, and please do us a favor by dropping a like and a comment to help us get back on track after being gone for so long. And if you happen to be checking us out and you're not subscribed, we've got a ton of videos like this one, so click that sub button. Let me know in the comments what videos you want to see from us soon, what we've missed while the channel's been down. Again, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.